It's one thing to want to get clicks. It's another to be a complete moron, a complete numbskull, a complete idiot. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because this Philadelphia media right now, it's absolutely unacceptable, the bullshit we're putting out. And I don't know how these guys have jobs. Bob Brookover, are you serious? Nick Fiero, whatever his name is, you're a joke. Freaking Marcus Hayes, he's been trolling for years. Elliot Shore-Parks, and Howard Eskin is the worst of the worst. Let's bring Tony Del Grosso on right now. We're going to talk some Phillies, but we had to switch things up. Unfortunately, Kyle couldn't make it tonight, so we're going to do our prospect show next week. But right now, we're talking about this media, and we're about to bash everybody.
The current media landscape in the city of Philadelphia and surrounding suburbs is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. These guys are lazy. They don't know what they're talking about. And not only don't know what they're talking about, most of them choose not to know what they're talking about, i.e. Bob Brookover. Let's get right into it. Because there's no excuse for Bob Brookover. I don't care.
No.
And don't give me – no. Go ahead. Start first before I explain.
I mean, like, how are you supposed to take a column seriously when your first sentence is, I confess that I have never seen Markelle Fultz play? There's no point in reading anything after that. Your opinion is moot. It doesn't matter. Stop talking.
Any other topic, in any other walk of life, and the writer starts it off by saying, I have no knowledge of the topic I'm about to talk about for the next 7-8 paragraphs, but I want you to read it anyway. That's essentially what he fucking said, and it's unfucking so. First of all, a guy like Brookover has connections where if he wanted to, he could find video of every single game that Fultz has played in college, probably every single game he played even as a senior in high school. With YouTube, and I don't want to hear, oh, well, YouTube is bullshit, blah, blah. No, actually, out there, you could pretty much watch every minute Fultz has played in college from YouTube. So, I mean, yeah, is it not as good as professional scouting videos? No, but it's still, you're still seeing him play. You could still understand what kind of athlete he is and how just a man amongst boys he was for a full year.
I'm thinking about sending him a little tweet, be like, hey, man, like, I got Fultz videos here on my channel. 10 minutes. You want to watch a game? You got to cut up. It's like draft breakdown.
What was worse about it? Yeah, he tried to defend himself, and other, even I think it was Ryan Lawrence, who I do actually respect for the most part. Even he tried to defend him too. He was like, "Oh, well, what would you rather have him watched 8 hours of YouTube video?"
Yes.
Actually, yeah. More knowledge and not knowing any knowledge. I understand, like, YouTube is YouTube, but it's still something. Don't write an article that you literally admit you know nothing about.
That is literally the worst lead sentence I've ever seen in my life. Awful. This guy is a professional writer in this city. This guy. 10 times better.
Yeah. I literally thought it was a joke at first. I really truly did until I got to like the second or third paragraph. I was like, oh no, he's really gonna try to like explain that. Absurd. There's no excuse for it. And then, like I said, he tried to defend himself on Twitter, and the other writers tried to defend him as well. It's absolutely embarrassing.
Well, in that community, you're not supposed to. It's like a unwritten rule to like talk shit on each other. So I guess like they defend each other. I found this out because I talk shit on Marcus Hayes, and somebody called me out on it. I'm like, well, if you write something idiotic, I'm gonna call you out on it. I don't care about no unwritten rule. I don't give a shit. I'm Adrian. I'm a bitter bird. I voice my displeasures. Okay, that's what I do.
I'm sorry. You kind of cut out for me for a minute, but sorry. What did you say?
basically, I just said I voice my displeasures because I'm a bitter bird.
You know, honestly, I don't want to get into a whole millennial thing here, but I feel like millennials, which I would consider you and I a millennial for sure, kind of changing just journalism in general, because
we are, yes.
A lot, honestly, like I almost value people who blog from their basement more than I do these guys on the beat that actually travel with their team. Because people who blog from their basement actually have a genuine passion and are looking to find new and creative things to talk about and new and creative ways to look at the games. Whereas these other guys are still using fucking statistics from 1955 and asinine, ways of looking at things. And frankly, are one of the reasons why Philadelphia has been called Negadelphia for so many years, because I feel like some of the average writing style and techniques of some of these sports writers is just like, the thing about Eskin.
He's the worst.
He knows damn well that the Sixers are about to be really fucking good, and he can't handle that. He doesn't like when Philadelphia teams are good because he would rather bitch and moan and whine and walk around in his fucking fur coat and being like, oh, yeah, these teams suck, man.
Freaking Howard, dude. Like, so Brookovers, I honestly didn't really read it, but basically his premise is they were a 9-win team. Why are you going to give up assets for a guy that was on a 9-win team? And I've made this argument before. I mean, well, when you got one guy in your rotation, regular rotation, that's a senior or junior, that's a problem. Only one guy.
Oh, man.
It's also one of the worst defensive teams in the nation. It's terrible. By the way, did I cut out?
Yeah, you did for a minute, but I got you again.
Yeah, because I'm cutting out. I'm cutting out on my own shit.
Oh.
I'm seeing it. I'm lagging. But it's just okay. So you're knocking on them for being on a bad team, but that team was bad. They would have been a 5-win team without Fultz.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, maybe even less. First of all, you got to look at the whole situation. Fultz thought he was playing with what's his name, Chris, who ended up going to Phoenix, and Murray, who is with the Spurs now, I believe.
Yeah, they weren't there this year.
Yeah, both of those guys were expected to stay for their sophomore years, didn't. Fultz thought he was going to win a national championship there with those other two guys. Without those other two guys, he has a bunch of guys who are barely even D1 athletes. I mean, if you look at some of the actual numbers, yeah, they only won 9 games, but he still carried that team in every way.
Yeah.
They were awful. They were just, I was coached around, and the coaching situation was just as bad. So
his other argument, going back to your 1950s thing, well, he talked about 1980. And actually, I've made this point before. So, so he brings up the Joe Barry Carroll trade about how, the Celtics, they traded the number 1 pick for the number 3 and Robert Parrish. And they took Kevin McHale. And the Warriors got Joe Barry Carroll, number 1.
Right.
So he brings up that. And it's okay, well, that's just one instance. So,
Yeah, you bring up, like you said, you bring up a thing from 31 years ago, and that's really what you're hanging your hat on. I mean, generally speaking, and he also tried to basically say that if you look at the history of the NBA, number 3 picks have as much success as the number 1 picks. That's actually blatantly false.
It's false over the last 5 years.
Yeah, number 1 picks have something like 70+% repeat All-Star appearances, whereas number 3 picks, it was less than 40% or something along those lines. Those not you know what I mean? You got my point.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between number 1 and number 3 picks in the NBA draft. Like we've said before, Sixers, if one of those picks does turn into another number 1 pick, Sixers will still get it. You're banking on a finding a better fit and a better talent in Markelle Fultz in the next 2 years. That's more of a risk than just taking the sure thing in Fultz, or the surest thing you have in Fultz.
Yeah. I wanted to get to this now. So I got a question for you. Whose column was worse, Brookovers or Hayes's?
And on Hayes's.
What's that? I missed. What was it you were saying?
Yeah, you're gonna have to fill me in on Hayes's column.
Okay, so Marcus Hayes's column from a couple weeks ago. That was the Quarterback Gurus one. Do you know about that one? So basically Carson Wentz. Okay, so basically Carson Wentz visited a couple quarterback gurus this offseason, and Marcus Hayes reported that the Eagles were pissed that he went to see some quarterback gurus. And he said they were pissed based on watching Doug Peterson's body language during a press conference. Now, the thing about quarterback gurus, this is something that a lot of the quarterbacks do. Matt Ryan does it. Tom Brady does it. Carson Wentz did it. You know? So for him to say that the Eagles were pissed is like completely asinine. He's just taking shit out of his ass and writing it.
Right. No, I did hear about this.
And he's like he's just a troll in general.
Yeah, Marcus. I actually met Marcus Hayes a few years ago at Coca-Cola Park in Allentown, and actually talked to him for a couple minutes. He's a really nice guy.
He's probably a character.
But he's absolutely asinine when it comes to most of his takes. And it seems like almost he's gone off the deep end as the last couple of years have gone up by. He just always wants to be the contrarian. He's almost like the Skip Bayless of Philadelphia. Just no matter what, he has to argue the other topic, even if he knows damn well he sounds like an ass. He probably just needed something to write. And that's what popped into his head. Yeah, these quarterback gurus, like you mentioned, some of the best quarterbacks in the league have used them. To me, they're similar to, you look at Major League Baseball players now, the majority of them have private hitting instructors, or a lot of pitchers even have private, pitching guys who, why do you think so many pitchers have went from throwing 92 to 95 in the past couple years? Different workout techniques and whatnot. And, the teams, pitching coaches, hitting coaches, or in this case, quarterback coaches aren't always the best when it comes to the what's the word? I guess fundamentals of the game. They have other things than we're concerned about, and I highly doubt the Eagles were actually mad and saw Tom House. A smart guy like him knows what he's talking about, can only help. It's not like a type of deal. Like, no, every two heads are better than one, 5 heads are better than 4. Whatever it is.
Well, I mean, the best way to get attention in this city is to be a contrarian. But I feel like writers have to be contrarians because they know they're not smart enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah. I mean, I certainly think that was the case in the Brookover column. He said,
yeah.
I mean, he basically actually doing work on this, so I'm just gonna say I don't like it because that's easier to write about. It'll probably get more clicks anyway. Mm-hmm. And that's just lazy. It's bad for journalism. It's bad for the city. It's really bad for everyone.
The biggest troll right now in the city is Elliott Shore-Parks. He is god awful, just awful, dude.
Or Howard. I can't stand Howard too.
Yeah, maybe because he's older, I'm not considering him because he's like the legend of trolling. But ESP is like just on a whole nother level right now. I know he does it purposely. I know it's a character he's playing. There's no way that he actually feels that Jordan Matthews is better than Alshon Jeffrey. There's just no fucking way.
Yeah,
and it's almost he wanted Kenny Stills, like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he was running the Eagles, he would rather have Jordan Matthews the number 1 and Kenny Stills the number 2, and Torrey Smith probably wouldn't be here, and Alshon Jeffrey certainly wouldn't be here, and I'm not even sure what to make of him because he's not one of the, doesn't at least seem like one of these guys who's just stuck in his old ways. I mean, he's probably only in his 30s, I would think. Mm-hmm. Maybe early 40s, I don't know, but
I don't think he's 40. He's too much of a tool to be 40.
Yeah, well, they put a lot of makeup on you when you go on camera, so you never know.
I don't need any. Look at his face.
I don't know some of the things he said recently.
I'm trying to think of like obviously he was like the poster child of the anti Sam Bradford movement. But
right.
like where he went wrong was saying that Colin Kaepernick was better than Sam Bradford, and that's where he was like, no, stop it. I'm trying to think of other examples. I mean, I really don't read his stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care. I know what he's trying to do. I'm not fooled by this shit. I know how it works. I know how the media works. I am media. I'm one of them. But I want my shit to be legit. You know, like that's what I want to be. I don't want to be some fucking contrarian. I don't want to be fake. I'm the smartest guy here in Philadelphia. You know, I don't want to write like it. I want to inform people.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not the smartest guy in Philadelphia. Ray Didinger's smarter than me.
Oh, Ray Diddy is still a classic.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Although even he sometimes got like he was very much opposed to the Sidney Jones. I mean, obviously, you're not always going to everyone. I just feel like there needs to be a revolution, so to speak, of just media people in Philadelphia. I hate to say it, but these old white guys need to go.
Old white guys
needs to step in. No, I shouldn't say that because there's plenty of. I mean, Hayes is black. Smallwood is black. They're dumb. Smallwood is another one. We haven't mentioned Smallwood.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Did he graduate high school? Because sometimes he doesn't even fucking make sense from this first paragraph to his last. Sometimes I read his articles and I legit have no idea what he was even trying to intend. Oh my god! And you know what? He's a University of Maryland guy, and I have a lot of respect for University of Maryland. I don't know how the fuck he graduated though. There's just a lot of bad writing. We could have a whole different topic on the radio personalities who are just as bad.
Yeah, I don't
save that for a different show.
You know why I don't listen to the radio, right? Did I ever tell you that story? Basically, the whole Angelo Cataldi thing where I was on the 610 WIP, like what was it, the internship game or whatever it was, and I finished in third place. He basically told us to play characters. Like he basically admitted that radio is fake and it's a bunch of characters. And you know, I even do it a little bit here. You know, like I what's the word? I'm very enthusiastic on camera. You know what I mean? Like I'm very passionate on camera. And
yeah.
but that's how people are going to listen to you. Like if you're going to be boring and monotone, like people are not going to listen to you. So the radio,
yeah.
I finished in third place, and the chick that won showed up in a string bikini every day, and it was fucking bullshit. I was the best one there, so I don't listen to talk radio anymore.
I mean, yeah, Angelo, let's be honest, he's the OG of being a contrarian. I mean,
yes.
But the thing about him, he plays a character, and to me, there's no way he actually believes half the shit that comes out of his mouth. 5 years or whatever he's been on air. Who frankly, like, he really doesn't know much about sports.
He doesn't.
You could
he doesn't.
have a beer with him, like, shoot the shit.
I had a conversation with him. When I had a conversation with him, like, he was like struggling.
Damn, you're really cutting out.
Yeah, you cut out on me too. Yeah, I don't know what's
totally
going on.
Frozen.
No. Unfortunately, we're having some problems with the show. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it's not too bad. We never talked about Jody McDonald. Tell your story about Jody McDonald.
Oh, Jody McDonald. All right, he's another guy who I'll say this: I have respect for his passion for baseball because he is legitimately, and he's a baseball guy. But he was, I don't know, a couple days ago, I was listening to the radio because I was bored, and he had this whole thing, and he even mentioned it on Twitter about how he wants the Phillies to trade for Sean Doolittle, 30-year-old left-handed reliever from the Oakland A's. He does have some local ties. I know Jersey, so maybe that's a thing. But what baffled me about it was that he was so adamant about it, and he wanted the Phillies to give up something for him, like an actual player who might have potential down the line. he mentioned Roman Quinn. He mentioned Jake Thompson, Pavetta, Ben Lively. He mentioned some of these guys, and don't get me wrong, I don't think the world of any of those guys. I'm not sure any of those guys are going to be anything. But why on God's green earth would you trade something of value for a 30-year-old reliever on a rebuilding team? Does that help you in any way? I'm sorry. And then he tried to argue with me, and he made some asinine references to Carlos Rondon of Cubs and Tony Sipp of the Houston Astros. So I told him, I was like, yeah, look at how the Cubs and the Astros have rebuilt their teams. The bullpen is the last thing you put together. That's the kind of cherry on top. Rondon and Sipp, as if those teams built their teams around Rondon and Sipp. Like, come on, dude. Like you didn't have anything else to talk about, so you thought of some asinine thing to talk about, and you just went with it. But I realized I was kind of a dick to him. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I think he got kind of butthurt about it, but I frankly don't really care, because if your job is to talk about sports, you need to know a little more about sports. And I even kind of busted his chops, and I asked him, "Oh, do you still judge pitchers by wins and losses?" And his response was kind of like, "Oh, yeah, a little bit," which is absolutely baffling, because if you know even a tiny bit about baseball, that wins and losses are absolutely irrelevant. Yes. When judging pitchers. It is what it is.
Well, speaking of butthurt, I left somebody from the Allentown Morning Call left butthurt. Nick Fierro. You want to talk about a contrarian? Jeez.
Nick Fierro.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about him, because that's your.
He writes for the Morning Call, which is. Yeah, he So I live in Bethlehem, and he writes for the Morning Call, which is. Yeah, there's basically two papers in the Lehigh Valley. The Morning Call is probably more popular. To me, he's probably just one of those guys who, I don't even know. Like he just reminds me of the stereotypical 40-ish, 50-ish something guy who watches football once a week and thinks he could be GM of any team, but when he actually opens his mouth, it's embarrassing, and it's just like, holy shit. What was even the art? Oh, it
was about Sidney Jones. It was a very narrow-minded take on Sidney Jones.
Right.
Yeah, it was along those lines.
It's almost, I don't know if it's like a generational thing, because that seems to be the underlying thing in a lot of these. Like you and I, we tend to look at big picture 3-4 years down the line, and a lot of these sports writers look at things like year to year. And on every team in Philadelphia right now, that is not the way to look at it. No team is a contender right now. Everything is 3-4 years down the line. And I'm sorry, just because you might not be alive 3-4 years down the line. That might have been too high.
Well, for Bob Brookover, he might not be alive. Some of these other guys, I don't know. Who are some other bad ones? I'm trying to think of other bad ones.
Oh my God! If one of these guys, I'm gonna. I feel horrible.
We're gonna have we're gonna have all these like media people watch our video, and I'm never gonna get a job.
Whoops! You need to edit that part out.
Nah, it's all right. But dude, you're so right though about like blogs and like all that.
No, I mean,
because
it.
I basically
like some of these guys have been doing it for. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I see what's going on. I see what's going on now. Basically, I talk, and you're like reacting 10 seconds after I talk. I'm lagging badly. This isn't good.
Yeah. There's a lag for sure.
Yeah, there's a lag, unfortunately.
Like
hopefully
any
it's
other
not
job, you have to adapt. Just because you've been doing. People have been doing their jobs for 20 years, and they're not doing it the same way now than they did 20 years ago. So why can't these guys adapt just like everyone else?
Yeah. But you're right, though, man. The people that write the blogs are a lot better. I mean, for Sixers stuff, I go on Liberty Ballers. I read Derek Bodner. Eagle stuff, I go on Bleeding Green Nation. Brandon Lee Gowton is tremendous. Freaking Flyer stuff, because I really don't know hockey that much. I go on Broad Street Hockey. You know, it's like I go to the blogs. I don't go on Philly.com. I don't go on Comcast Sportsnet.
Right.
I go to the blogs. They're smarter. They're better.
No.
So,
You know, I am, and you probably fall under this category too, we're sick, disgusting fucks about sports where if there actually was good sports talk, we could listen to sports talk radio 24 hours a day. But it's so fucking shitty anymore where it's just like once in a while we'll tune in, but it usually ends up we tune out after 5 minutes because some blowhard is screaming about something that's just absolutely asinine.
yeah, I mean, even when I made,
And you know what else bothers me? I feel like Miss Tonelli, I still think is by far the number one show in Philadelphia right now. I think he leads the standings probably by a wide margin. And even him, he clearly doesn't want to be there anymore. He's mentioned it. Like his contract is up in a year or two, and he's always mentioning how he won't be there anymore. And you could just tell he's whiny and he doesn't do research anymore. And like, dude, if you don't want to be there, then step aside and let someone who does want to be there be there. Show right now, and everything is just like he just sounds like Charlie Brown.
we gotta get the Bitter Birds on the radio, man.
From him anymore, and then Martinez has to slap him, or he has to slap him around, and then Missinelli just yells at him because I'm Mike Missinelli, and it's yeah, this lag blows.
Yeah, who is any good? Like, who is a good writer? That's like professional, or a radio guy. Who is good? Besides Ray Diddy, that doesn't count. He's a god.
Did you ask what radio guy is good?
Yeah, I don't listen to the radio, so I wouldn't know. Eitan
Top of
Shander.
my head. All right. Well, I like Eitan Shander. Yeah. There we go. He's on the morning show with Gargano. I think he has a clue, especially when it comes to basketball.
He does have a clue.
Mosher, I like Jeff Mosher a lot, especially when it comes to. I don't know what you just said.
See, this lagging is screwing us up. Just keep going.
Devon Givens, I like a great basketball dude. They kind of, I think a lot of guys kind of have their own niche, like in certain sports. Baseball guy on local radio right now, who I think like really truly knows his shit, which is kind of sad. I mean, off the top of my head, it's those three guys who, if they're on, I like to listen to them. I wish Shander had his own show. But like, you know, even the big time guys, Gargano, Missinelli, they're just and Carlin and Reese. Oh my God!
Oh,
every
God,
day is just embarrassing.
Oh, Chris Carlin, we didn't even get to him yet. Oh my God! He said he traded Kristaps for Ben Simmons. What a fucking moron!
Really?
I must be
fucking
really
my cheek. I don't know.
So basically what I just said was Chris Carlin said that he would trade Ben Simmons for Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh, the Sarge and Fultz for Porzingis deal?
Is that what that was? I thought he said Simmons straight up for Kristaps.
Who for Kristaps?
Ben Simmons. We may have to stop the show. It's this lagging is getting really, really bad.
What? What? He should have been fired on the spot. He said Ben Simmons for Kristaps. He should have been fired on the spot. I would have drove his ass back to New York, and I would be happy to never hear from him again. That is fucking retarded. Retarded.
dude, it's like
And I like Kristaps too. I think he's a legit like all-star player. No,
you don't do that.
no, just no.
Again, it's like I don't know.
I don't think Kristaps is ever going to be Dirk.
Type, you know, is he a contrarian or what? I don't know, but yeah, I've listened to him a couple times just from like being in a car with somebody, and you know they turn on the talk radio, and he's a fucking idiot, dude. He's bad. Bring back Ennis.
Yeah, he not only an idiot, but like he's from New York, and he still has to be educated quite often about Philadelphia sports. And like, I don't even blame him. He's not from around here, but dude, why would you put him in your biggest slot? And they're just morons. And with all due respect to Ike Reese, he's not exactly Einstein either. And just the two of them back and forth, you want to hit your head against a brick wall.
Yeah,
it's true.
You know who's really good? John Barshard. John Barshard is awesome. But that's Bleeding Green Nation. Man, you can't hear me, can you?
No, you're cutting out.
God damn it! All right, yo. Anyway, we got to cut this off anyway because I have that show at 9:00 with the Flyers guys. So we'll just cut this off. Hey, you got any final thoughts before we head out? I think we've mentioned enough.
No, that was. Yeah, basically we just want to say that there is a lot of laziness and unprofessionalism and frankly just stupidity in Philadelphia media.
Yeah. Like so it's like they're looking for reactions. They want us to get pissed off. Well, we just did. That's exactly what they want. We just catered to them. I see a befuddled look on your face. You didn't hear me again. Dude, this sucks. I hope
can't hear you, so.
Yeah, I hope this turned out all right. All right, well, we're just going to end it right now. That's Tony D, Tony Del Grosso. I'm Adrian Fedke. Hopefully this show turned out all right because it was fire. We're out.